Howdy everyone. Sony might have been thinking that their moneypreneur would go brrrr because their first party games are now $69.99, including Gran Turismo 7. So is it worth it at that price? Well, I played 10 hours and I'd like to share my experience with this game. The Gran Turismo franchise originally dropped in 1997, with its 7th mainline title dropping just in time for its 25th anniversary in 2022. To be honest, the franchise and the racing genre as a whole never seemed too appealing to me. When this game was shown off during the initial PS5 reveal, I thought, whoa, cars, I don't really care. But in 2021, I gave Forza Horizon 5 a chance on Game Pass, and I enjoyed it a lot. So I thought, hey, maybe Gran Turismo might do the same for me. So I bought the game, installed it, and immediately I'm placed in this game mode called Music Rally. And it gives off a pretty good first impression of what Gran Turismo has to offer. Basically, I began driving as a counter went down to the beat of the music. In order to keep going, I would have to drive through these checkpoints that would add more time to the counter. The music that played was a medley of classical music, which you're hearing right now. This is followed by a lengthy opening credits sequence. This 8-minute intro, along with the classical medley that played during the music rally, shows off the identity of Gran Turismo 7. It has this elegance mixed with the hint of modernness. So I bought my first used car and got directed straight to the Gran Turismo Cafe. The cafe is the closest thing to a single player campaign in this game. You're given these menu books that serve as missions to complete. These menu books range from completing races to trying out different game modes. This is a pretty nice way to have players get a taste of everything that Gran Turismo 7 has to offer. So I completed the first menu book, which was to win 3 races and then get rewarded with a car upon winning each one. And upon coming back to the cafe to wrap things up, I'm given these facts about the 3 cars that I won. This introduces another big component of Gran Turismo 7. The team at Polyphony Digital really wanted players to learn about the history of cars. I thought it was pretty charming at first, but after a while I found myself fast forwarding through these so I can get back to actual racing. So I continued doing more menu books. Eventually, I unlocked the tuning shop. So at first I entered the place and left right away to go back to racing. But later on, I found myself spending a decent amount of time in here during my 10 hours of playing. By the 2-hour mark, I began my first championship and won. So I continued going through the motions, doing menu books, and doing some more racing. Unlike the other racing game I've played, Forza Horizon 5, I found myself switching between different camera angles. Sometimes I would switch to a behind the wheel perspective, and if I got tired of that, I would switch to a behind the car perspective. Another thing I begun to notice at the 3-hour mark is how much detail there is to the gameplay. I finally decided to go back to the tuning shop. There are a ton of parts and tires that could be used to customize my cars. It seemed overwhelming at first, but I boiled it down to this. Each car has performance points. PP for short. Generally, the bigger the car's PP, the better the car is for racing. I also realized that each race also has its own requirements, such as the country your car is manufactured, what tires are allowed, and the recommended PP size. My cars all had a gigantic PP. And then when it comes to the actual racing, once again, there is a ton of detail. Precision and accuracy matter a lot during these races. In each track, there is a specific time on when to brake and when to accelerate. It feels like there's a rhythm to these races. And of course, the DualSense features really do add into the immersion as well. Another thing to bring up are the graphics. To be honest, they're pretty hit or miss. At some points, the game looks great. The lighting can look amazing at times, especially when the sun shines on the reflection of the cars, though other times it looks underwhelming. I mean, this just looks bland. So about 4 hours in, I finally get to wash my car. Nice. I never bothered to do this again.
I'm a dirty boy!
So I unlocked the next championship, but before I go on, I had to do this bullshit. I have to get a special license by doing these boring tutorials. They feel like a huge grind, and it never really felt like I learned much. And at times, they're just frustrating. The championship finally began, and it's in Japan. And I couldn't resist, I was blasting the Tokyo Drift theme. By the way, do you remember Tokyo Drift? It was back when the Fast and Furious movies were actually about racing and not whatever this is. So I won the championship and I got some nice cars. Around the 5 to 6 hour mark, the races started to get a lot more challenging. As I said before, precision and accuracy are important aspects to Gran Turismo 7. though the realism does kinda take away the fun of the game. It's frustrating when I keep messing up and my car starts spinning around. These steering wheels do feel like tanks at times. I found myself having to replay races constantly. Plus, I was even playing on Game Journalist difficulty. I realized I'm probably just terrible at Gran Turismo. So at a point, I stopped playing for a bit to tune my cars and adjust my wheel sensitivity. And once that happened, I ended up winning. Fuck yeah. So I went on to eventually win some Camaros, and we got a Transformers reference. I kinda like how the Transformers brand is not even directly mentioned, because after all, a professional and elegant title like Gran Turismo 7 doesn't want to be associated with
Are you username ladiesman217?
I don't know what you're talking
Are
about.
you username ladiesman217?
The next cafe menu book involved scrapes. This is essentially the game's photo mode. All I had to do was check out the mode, play around with it for a little bit. Look, this is my masterpiece. So the next cafe book is another championship, which means... Son of a bitch! I hate doing these. Were these a thing in the other Gran Turismo games?
Now I'm pissed. Now I'm getting pissed, okay? It's official. This is f***ing stupid bullshit. I didn't f***ing fail the mission. I never failed the mission.
So I eventually got the license. After a half hour, I completed the championship, and I went on to do some more cafe books. And then I found myself back to doing Japan tracks. And of course, I blasted the Tokyo Drift theme again. I really need to rewatch Tokyo Drift. I really hate the turns on this track. I also hate when I accidentally slip into the pit stops, though after a few tries I eventually got the hang of it. After this I decided to take a break from the cafe and start doing some more music rallies. I really do like these. It is a shame that there aren't more of these. So I spent my 10th hour doing a few more menu books and also checking out some of the other modes on the world map. I took a look at Brand Central. Unlike the used car lot, I could buy brand new cars right here. So I bought myself a Tesla. Unfortunately, I can't play Witcher 3 on it. I then took a look at the Legend cars, and of course they cost bread. But with that said, I always get an offer to top off my credits on the PlayStation Store. I wouldn't buy microtransactions if this was a free game, so I'm definitely not gonna buy them if the game costs $70 fucking dollars. Jim Ryan, you can go eat a fucking dick. Before I logged off for the night, I decided to do one more quick race with my Tesla. I ended up getting my ass kicked. What are my thoughts on the game after 10 hours? If you're a Gran Turismo fan and are passionate about cars, I would recommend it. This is ultimately a game about old-fashioned and professional racing. It is a love letter to the history and the appreciation of automobiles. It's got plenty of content if that's your type of thing. Though, if you want something to show off the PS5's graphics, there are better games out there for that, like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart and Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. On top of that, it is a pain in the ass that this game needs to be connected to the internet at all times. Top this off with the microtransactions, and I honestly can't recommend this game at $60, let alone $70. So would I continue playing after the 10-hour mark? Not really. In fact, I'm considering reselling the game on Mercari, which means I could transition to this shameless plug. Mercari is a platform where you could resell any of your old stuff that's lying around, like old video games that you're disappointed by. Affiliate link is down below if you want a free coupon. Shameless plug is over. So overall, I can see some people really enjoying Gran Turismo 7. I'm sure fans of the franchise will, or already are, having a blast with this game. But personally, it isn't for me. I very much prefer Forza Horizon 5. That game has a Dodge Bronco.